Hello, everyone. Dan Illman along with DRF's Alexa Zepp, fresh off a phenomenal showing in the NHC Championship. Alexa had two entries make it to the final day. It really was a sensational performance. So we're going to handicap the Sir Shackleton Stakes on the Florida Derby undercard. Let's take a peek at this field. We're kicking off the 20-cent Rainbow Pick 6, Alexa, on Florida Derby Saturday. Your morning line favorite, the number 3 Long Range Toddy, is a millionaire. He certainly has credentials, but there are many ways to go in this wide open event.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a ton of horses in here. I mean, Long Range Toddy's obviously the most accomplished in his earnings, but we have lots of horses coming off some of their lifetime best buyers, so it's a competitive field.
Not only is it a competitive field, but we have some very fast horses in this race. Let's see what our friends at Timeform US have to say about the pace. They believe the pace will be fast, and I agree with them, Alexa. The number 1, Vivir con Alegria, can fly.
Absolutely. His last 3 races went straight to the lead, set really fast fractions, and unfortunately has gotten caught in all of them and gotten second. So, but he's a quick leader for sure.
Let's watch Vivir con Alegria's most recent start at Gulfstream Park. It was a really nice performance. He had to work extremely hard through a second quarter in a blazing 22 seconds flat, has a clear lead in the stretch, and it takes odds-on Kings Barnes, who won last year's Grade 2 Louisiana Derby, to run him down. A nice effort.
Yeah, super impressive effort. Again, definitely going to be the speed in the race. I absolutely agree with the pace projector on this one. Never has won in the United States, though. So, really good at hitting the board, but not finding the winner's circle. And I'm not quite sure we're going to see that this weekend yet.
Really kind of dependent on whether he's going to face a lot of other pace, and Timeform US does believe the pace will be fast. I'm interested in your thoughts on the number 2, Implementation. He was really battling on very gamely in between Kings Barnes and Vivir con Alegria last time out. I thought it was a good performance, and maybe he's sort of cycling back to his best in the third start off a short layoff.
Yeah, it was a good performance. This horse is a consistent, steady runner. I mean, since he's been under Safi's care, he's continued to improve. Lifetime best buyer last out. That being said, he also has had a hard time finding the winner's circle. His best win, his last win being over 6 months ago over the grass at the very unique Kentucky Downs. So, he gets IRAD aboard today, so maybe that'll be enough to push it over the edge and get him there, but I'm not sure.
It's a good point about IRAD, though. He usually puts him in the right spot. And I think trips are going to be very important for a horse like Implementation, who has the tactical speed maybe to tuck in behind the leaders and get that right setup. The morning line, a little bit short for me, however. Let's talk about our morning line favorite, Long Range Toddy, who won a division of the Rebel back in 2019, and then it took him about 4 years to reach the winner's circle. It's a pretty remarkable losing streak for a good horse, but it looks like he's been resurrected as a one-turn horse, and last time out in the Gulfstream Park Sprint, he did all the heavy lifting up front.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not great that we have to go back 5 years, to see his best performances. But both last starts in the Grade 3 Mr. Prospector and the Gulfstream Park Sprint, those races favored closers. Like, the pace was not setting up great for him. I think he's gonna get a much better setup for Saturday.
That's a really good point, Alexa. The pace was so hot last time out. You look at the top three finishers of that last race, they all came from way out of it. And Long Range Toddy was part of the pace. And I think getting back out to 7 is going to work for him. 6 furlongs might be just a little bit sharp, and he doesn't need the lead to win. I'm interested about the 4, Legacy Isle, because this was a really good 2-year-old, early 3-year-old in 2022 and 2023. And then he sort of lost his way. He was thrown to the wolves in some major stakes races. Then he was laid up. Then they ran him on turf and on synthetic. Do you think getting back to 7 on dirt allows him to find his best self?
Maybe. I mean, he has not done well for a year, and they stepped him up to graded stakes company. He couldn't hang with it. I feel like, yeah, they've just been trying to find the right place again, playing around with distances and surfaces. I'm not overly impressed with his works here. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in him this weekend.
The number 5, Shack Diesel's cutting back in distance. And I really like horses moving route to the 7 furlong sprint. In fact, Shack Diesel's most recent victory came going 7/8 of a mile at Tampa Bay 3 starts back. I thought this horse had some sneaky trouble last time in a tough edition of the Gulfstream Mile.
I completely agree. I love this horse in this race. Last race, Gulfstream Mile, he had a rough trip. He kind of hopped at the break, and he's a closer, but he likes to be a little more forwardly placed than he was able to be in that race. So he spent a lot of energy, like getting back in the game, and just never looked comfortable again that whole race. Again, at the top of the stretch, he didn't get the position he wanted. And so I kind of want to throw that race out. And before that, he's coming off 2 wins. Ever since he's been with Fox, he's improved a ton. Joe Bravo's hopping aboard again today. So this one for me is live.
And it looks like he's going to get a setup. There's going to be some speed for him. So if he can get out of the gate, he can settle in mid-pack and make a strong run. That's a good point about the tough trip last time out. When handicapping off your formulator, PP's friends, just click on that short comment. You get to see the video of the last race. Oscar eclipses the number 6. He's kind of an X factor in this race, isn't he? Because we haven't seen him since the early fall when he was running 9.5 furlongs at Churchill Downs. I thought he ran really well that day. He was sort of pushing the pace all the way throughout. He finished 3rd. Dennington was in that race. We know him. He's a solid allowance type. Came back to earn buyers of 91 and 95. Earlier in his career, however, for Brian Lynch, he was okay at 7/8.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is a cutback, but he won his main special weight at this distance. So I definitely think it's a good race for him. He's the most lightly raced horse in the field with only 6 starts, coming off half a year layoff, but has 2 bullet workouts. And, Brian Lynch is a $1.75 ROI for those long layoffs. So that gives me a reason to believe he's ready.
That's a good point. It's not easy to do well as a trainer of horses coming off long layoffs, especially when you're in against the top competition where Lynch usually throws them. This horse, I think, is going to be ready off of the layoff, and he's got some tactical speed despite turning back. The 7 ticking is 15-1 on the morning line. That's not going to bother ticking because he was 42-1 when he won this allowance race last time out, going 7/8 of a mile. It was his first race of the year, and I really liked that he showed improved early interest. His second start is a gelding. He sat close to the pace and he finishes it off.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah, Ticking's coming off his lifetime best. He's run 8 times. He's won 3 of them. All 3 of them have been 7 furlongs, same distance as today. All 3 of them have been under Edgar Zayas. So I think this is a good place for him. Implementation couldn't collar him last race. The pace advantaged implementation in that race. So he's got a bullet work, 5 furlongs in a minute flat. The pace projector doesn't show him being a player at the end, but I disagree.
I think he can also work out a good trip. This is a nice attack outside post position where he can sort of steer clear of traffic, not get any dirt in his face, and sit just off the hot pace. You mentioned his ability at 7/8 of a mile. It's a specialist distance to be sure, and he loves it. The Ape's dreaming of Kona, horse moving turf to dirt, but he's run some tough spots on dirt in his last couple of appearances on the surface. The Fred Hooper, the Mr. Prospector Stakes. If you draw lines through his last 3 races because of surface and company, you're left with a good effort at Gulfstream going 7/8, 4 starts back.
Yeah, he's definitely been running against tough competition in these graded stakes races. I think it's been over his head. His best performances have been on the synthetic and turf. So even with those, though, he's going to have to improve. The March 13th work with 4 furlongs and 47 is impressive, but for me, it's not quite enough to sway me to put him on my tickets.
The number 9 is Thought, and he's going to be taking a pretty big step up in class. He was in a starter optional claimer last time out, and he finished an even 3rd that day. This is a much tougher placement, but I don't want to knock him too much. He's going to be a big price. He just has to improve a bit.
Yeah, this horse intrigues me. I find the career choices a little bit confusing. He consistently hits the board, runs some really fast races, throws out a 90 buyer last June at Canterbury, and then consistently runs in the 80s, and they're just now stepping him up. So that is a little bit of a confusing choice for me. He's one going long, he's one going short, he's one on synthetic, he's one on dirt, so it's a versatile horse. He has ability, but this is a big step up and a strange timing, in my opinion, to do it. So I'm not sure if I have a whole lot of confidence yet. Well,
let's take a look at our top picks for the first leg of the 20-cent Rainbow Six. I like where you're going because Shack Diesel's going to be a price. And you mentioned the trouble. And if folks don't watch the video, they're just going to look at a running line that might appear a little bit dull, and that inflates the price.
Absolutely. It wasn't the most obvious trouble. He didn't fall to his knees or anything. So I think he can get overlooked here. But I think the pace sets up for him. And I like him in this race.
Oscar Eclipse is the interesting horse to me. I don't want to take too much shorter than his morning line because he does have a significant layoff to overcome, but he is a proven sprinter and he does have some tactical speed. I think he's just found the right spot for his return to action. So 6-3-2-7 for me, 5-6-7-3 for Alexa. It's the Sir Shackleton Stakes on a phenomenal Saturday afternoon of racing at Gulfstream Park. Best of luck.